So the winter season is starting up and you might be getting ready to start training indoors. And today I'm going to tell you guys everything you need to know about rollers and trainers. If you're not exactly sure what these are, rollers and trainers are both great ways of training indoors with your own bike. So instead of using a stationary bike at a gym, you can actually use your own bike that you're used to. So that's really great for your training. But there's also a couple differences between trainers and rollers that are very important to mention and can influence your decision on which ones to buy. So while you're riding on rollers, you're actually always basically practicing your spinning technique since you have to always be pedaling to stay on. You can't actually stop or else you will slow down and you won't be able to keep your balance and you'll fall off. So with a trainer, you can actually just stop and the trainer will hold you up. You can cycle with no hands. You don't really have to pay attention. So you can really easily start getting sloppy as the season goes on. And by the time that you start biking outside again, you actually won't be as fresh as you could be with rollers where you're always practicing exactly how you would ride normally. Another difference between rollers and trainers is that while you're on rollers, you always have to be concentrating on keeping yourself in the center of the roller so that you don't go off. This can be a lot less boring than if you're just riding on your trainer, where you actually don't really have to pay attention. It'll just hold you up. You can just pedal. You don't really have to concentrate. And it can get pretty boring pretty fast. So on rollers, it's a little bit less boring. So some people might be scared of rollers because they can look kind of scary, be hard to ride on, and for beginners, it can be pretty intimidating, but it's really not that hard to learn how to ride on them. Just 3 or 4 practices and you'll have it pretty well, and you'll just get better as time goes on. Compared to a trainer, there's no learning curve at all. You basically just hop on your bike, hop on the trainer, and you're good. So with trainers, you can actually use the resistance settings to adjust how hard you're pedaling and how much resistance is on your back wheel. Compared to most rollers, there's actually no way of adjusting the resistance, so you have to do that all with your gears. There are quite a few rollers that cost a lot more though, that you can adjust the resistance, which is pretty good. So you just have to look at that and see how much you're willing to spend. Another thing that is a little bit harder to do on rollers is to do sprints or standing up on your bike. So if you decide to stand up quickly during a training interval or something like that, you might fall a little bit off balance with some rollers. Like with the Elite Aerion rollers that I made a video on earlier, they don't have any way of stabilizing them. So if you jump up quickly, you might roll off or you might lose your balance. But there are quite a few rollers that will actually have stabilizing mechanisms that kind of rock when you would stand up, so it's actually not that much of a big deal. And with a trainer, you can stand up as much as you want, obviously, because it just holds you straight no matter what. Another thing to keep into consideration is with a trainer, you're actually going to be wearing down your back tire a lot. So you've got to maybe buy a training tire that is okay to wear down or that is more resistant to that. Usually what I used to do when I used a trainer a lot, I just get some crappy tire and throw it on the back wheel so that I wouldn't be messing up my good ones. But with rollers, you really don't have to worry about that. And the last thing is that trainers are actually a lot more compact. Some can be actually pretty big and heavy, but compared to rollers, they're basically almost always a lot smaller. As you can see, this trainer is pretty small. I don't have my rollers right here right now, but compared to this trainer, they're actually quite a bit bigger and take up a bit more space. So that's something to keep into consideration when you're packing it into your car or something like that. Anyways, guys, that's all you need to know about rollers versus trainers. I would definitely suggest trying rollers just because they're a lot more fun, less boring, and they actually feel like you're riding your bike instead of just sitting on it like you do with a trainer. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, check out the rest of my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
You better hope that you're not making these common triathlon mistakes. I see people wearing Speedos that definitely should not be wearing them. No one wants to see that.
So the winter season is starting up and you may be getting ready to cycle indoors for your training. These are the Elite Aerion rollers. These are ones that I use